We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we are just a little over 24 hours into being remonetized for the first time in over half a decade, 5.5+ years. And here to celebrate with me is a man who is currently in low Earth orbit.
Yes, thank you, Jason. Respected astronaut, Kurt Metzger, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Respected astronaut and all-around great guy, Kurt Metzger. Now, we're going to be talking MK Often, a sub-project of MK Ultra today. But since we are now remonetized, any of the super chats that want to take this in a direction, we will read them. We will ask Kerp, the host of, if you didn't know, everybody, the
Derp with Kerp, yeah.
with Kerp. You can go follow him right now over at YouTube and, of course, over on the X as well at Kurt Metzger. Mr. Metzger, it's been a hot second. Plenty of chaos since the last time that we talked. Political assassinations, more warfare, supposedly peace in the Middle East. We'll see how long that has. You taking up an old man's pipe. Tell us what's been going on in your world, sir.
I stole the pipe bit from Scott Horton. Scott Horton had a pipe when I went to have dinner, and it's pretty smooth, man.
You like that? So what kind of
gesture like a learned man? It was all Scott Horton. And then my astronaut shiesty was inspired by hip hop and Michael Malice's dress ups. This is what they call a shiesty on the street, Jason.
Mm-hmm. Well,
or in space. This is a space shiesty.
Before we get into MK Often, I actually did a big broadcast yesterday on NASA and what is what is currently going on in that fiasco. It looks like they're bringing in a SpaceX Musk-aligned gentleman to head up the agency. They're going to get rid of Duffy, who's the transportation secretary / reality star. JPL.
Who's Duffy? I don't remember Duffy.
Sean Duffy is the transportation secretary. I believe he was a real worlder. Well, we can do it live. Sean,
is that the wait? So he's the new Pete Buttigieg, basically.
He's more like I wouldn't say he's booty. Jed, yes, he was the Real World Boston in '97. See, we'll do.
Wasn't Pete Judy Butt the what do you call it? Wasn't he Secretary of Transportation?
Yes, yeah. Oh, yes. You're saying that? Yes, that was Buttigieg's.
I don't mean he's like the new guy who's straight pretending to be gay for some reason. I wasn't trying to say that.
Who knows what's actually going on there? But yes,
for reasons no one understands, he's pretending to be gay this whole time. I don't believe he's gay. And Tucker said that's the rumor, and I believe Tucker.
I mean, I'll say this: I think it's up in the air. He is this is a guy that is not only a lifelong politician, social climber, Rhodes Scholar, but remember, we caught him trying to fake bike ride in D.C. to work. I mean...
Yeah, that's not only fake rides, I bet.
Uh-oh, wait one sec, Kurt. We've already got two. And I
You've
promise
already been
when we do this,
demonetized.
we've already got him. Can Kurt shout out Sumo Dog? It's
Who's that?
Sweezy's dog, Sumo Bear. Can you do that, Kurt?
I could, but what is it? I don't know who that is.
I don't know. I guess just say shout out to Sumo Dog, and we're gonna be Drew.
That's to make a
Huntley is
clip
gonna-
for something. I don't know what it's a clip for, so why would I do that?
I don't know. This
Yeah,
is what I've
Sumo
got.
Dog, whatever this is.
Oh, you're there. Never mind. I thought what happened here? Hold on. Do I not have things going right? No, there you are. Look at
Was that Sumo Dog's revenge?
that. I don't know. I don't know. It just says can. I guess you're not getting it, Huntley. Sorry. Apparently.
Well, I just don't understand it, and it sounds like something where if I don't know it, and you want me to say a thing, it could be clipped to put in something, which I'm not even against. But I want to know what it is.
There you go. So yeah, tell us what it is, Drew Huntley. He says it's Sweezy's dog, Sumo Bear, but I don't know what that means. And I do want to shout out the Groundhog just for the straight super chat. So
Well, I guess the Sumo's dog or whatever. Sweet. I mean, it sounds like a cartoon characters are calling into your show.
yeah, no. Well, this is cartoon level today.
Shout out Gummy Bears and fucking. Hey, shout out to the Munchichis.
So just to wrap up a little more NASA. So Duffy's going to be out. We've got the new Musk loyalist in. JPL.
Is he Mormon?
No, his name is Isaacman, actually.
No. His last. I don't mean this is. Oh, you mean he can't be a Mormon because his last name's Isaacson?
No, it's Isaac Min, and I don't think that he's a Mormon. I think that he's more like I'm not sure if he's like. I'm assuming he's ethnically Jewish, but I could be wrong
I hope so. He better be.
I mean, again, I could be thrown out. He's an ex-SpaceX astronaut, and so I'm not even sure how far he's been in space. We've also got
that guy,
okay.
Is he on Rogan? Did he go on Rogan
He
show?
may
That guy?
have been the guy on there. I think it's Jared Isaacman. Yes, here it is right here. And he's this guy right here is the CEO of Shift4 recently. This is the guy he's tried to become the agency chief before, but it looks like he's actually going to be the chief again. But
because his ears were too big, that's why they wouldn't let him in.
I mean,
His
again,
weird ears.
Those are some pretty big ears. You're not wrong.
How are you gonna get a helmet for that? It's just not feasible for long distance space flight. The materials are. Look at that.
Well, again, we're supposed to be going with human beings around the moon this year.
Finally,
in 2026 coming up. I'm skeptical. JPL just laid off, I think it was 10,000 people. A pretty good portion of their workforce. I think that's a transition move. And they're actually getting ready to decommission the ISS. And they're saying that there's going to be all these little commercial bases, kind of like the International Space Station in space coming up. Again, color me highly skeptical. Have you been recruited recently for any missions? Where will you be going?
I gotta. Oh, on the 30th, I'm in San Diego at Great American Comedy Club. I have a very vital mission on the 30th.
Oh, that's what I want.
Go to my website for tickets. Okay, I have a question. Are we still building that nuclear power generator on the moon that they were talking about?
So Duffy is the one. That's the guy that announced that. And those are supposedly going to be nuclear reactors on the dark side of the moon. The thumbnail that I used yesterday, I did use a little AI in it, but it was literally two guys on the moon. This is a NASA rendering, obviously not real. They're not claiming it was. And they had a rocket on the moon that was going to take off, like the traditional thing. I think we're cartoon level on that, unless they've lied to us just about every single thing via the moon, which is very possible.
Yeah, of course. Wait, is this feedback? Is it? Are you getting like an echo on me right now? I keep hearing it on my end.
I got no echo on this end. I'll ask the audience if they're hearing an echo at all, but I don't think so.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I keep hearing a weird feedback. It might be because I'm in space.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's very tough once you're.
I know people are going to debunk my space that I'm broadcasting from space because these conspiracy people. Okay, so the rocket thing clearly is the missing penis of Osiris, and we've been trying to get it back to him.
Well, that
if you want to know on an esoteric astronaut level, it's the penis of Osiris. Why they look like cocks? Because they are. They are cocks. Everything's a cock that looks like a cock, just so you know.
since we do a lot of things live here, okay?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we do a lot of things live here. Are you aware that Buzz Aldrin, who has made the claim that he's been on this moon, he also claims that there is a monolith, much like the one in the 2001: A Space Odyssey picture,
Yes.
on the moon. Have you ever seen him make that claim?
Yeah, and isn't there also a thing about him that he went to Antarctica not that long ago and saw pure evil or something, and he had a heart attack down there because he went to Antarctica? Now, if he said he saw pure evil, that to me that's like kind of maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I know the heart attack thing's real.
Okay.
And flying out.
So I was unaware of this, and there's a conspiracy about it.
What do you think he's doing down there?
Well, it was 2016, so we'll do it live. And apparently, he got sick from altitude sickness on the trip. But the conspiracy theory.
Oh, altitude sickness, eh?
That's what
an
he
astronaut. An astronaut, you say?
Yes. So they're saying it is a false claim. He suffered altitude sickness. I'd have to see the pure evil quote. If Buzz saw something, I don't know what it was, but it was enough to give the man a heart attack.
There's a bunch of stories that creeped out scientists around. Now, my buddy Eric Hecker, who is the Raytheon whistleblower, by the way, his story, there's nothing fantastical about it. I don't even know how it would be hard to believe for anyone that that's a weapon that they made there. Of course it is. What do you think Raytheon's doing anyway?
Well, I'm glad you're talking about that, okay? Because that'll kind of bring us into this MK Often topic.
Wait. So here's what it. So Eric was asserting that the Christchurch earthquakes were a friendly fire incident from that Raytheon thing. Okay, and that's how much of a sweet, naive Pollyanna he is. Because, as a matter of fact, I don't think it's that at all. I think it was an intentional thing, because John Kerry got our people out of there like the week before it hit, and John Kerry, instead of going to his dumb climate thing that he was going to, he had to stop in Antarctica to see how the ice is doing or some nonsense exactly at that time. So I think Eric thought it might have been friendly fire because he was being I texted him that too. I go, you're a sweet kid, but no, they did that on purpose, I'm sure.
Well, when we're talking about Arctic regions, military presence, NASA presence in particular, part of the story, because we were going not just what was going on, but historically, just recently, NASA was out in Greenland, Cold War times, and they came across one of the massive military underground bases that we built in Greenland that was operational throughout the 70s. Now, with that being abandoned, you can only imagine what they have today. But in those regions, I also put out there one of the launches of these balloons that has the satellite systems on them. Did you see that one of them actually crashed this week as well?
Where it crashed? China? Like how their balloons keep attacking us?
No, on a farm. Hold on. Let's NASA crash. Let's see. Bam. Just in the news this week. Here it is right here. And we played the video of it crashing, but it's on a huge, there it is, falling to the earth right there. But no, it was massive, of course, like it's car-sized equipment, and this is one of the smaller ones, and they launch them all the time via those balloons. And I think that they're launching more and more of them, and that's why you're seeing things like the Chinese spy balloon, this happening more and more because human error. And that's another thing that NASA is all about, automation, artificial intelligence, partnering with the good people at Google that we love so much. I mean, they're great people.
Well, they're great for if you want to check what was trending on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. They're good for that. Oh, and I messaged you. Wait, I'll tell you the guy. I forget the guy's name. The guy just sent. So I was on Jimmy Dore show yesterday, and we're looking at those searches. The trends.
I know what you're talking about. Someone sent it to me earlier in the week, and you're talking about the search for Thomas Matthew Crooks.
No. So
okay,
the one that James Lee did that was going around yesterday.
Okay.
Was specifically Charlie Kirk. So someone looked up, the hospital they took him to instead of where they would have taken him if he could have been saved. They took him like far away. So somebody Googled all that hospital, the supposed assassin was Googled 2 days before a lot, like it suddenly spiked and it was from Washington, D.C. And take a wild guess what other place.
Tel Aviv.
What?
Tel Aviv.
Yeah, it was newsreel IP addresses, and they searched, whoever this was searched every surgeon that worked at that hospital. My guess is to find one that would say whatever bullshit they want him to say, that you
After
could pay
the
off.
fact. Well, I'll just say this. I mean, I tried to stay away from that video for about as long as I could.
Me too. I
And
saw it without wanting to.
me too. And my brother called me before they even announced he was dead while I was in D.C. because I was again supposed to be introducing Tucker Carlson at this D.C. event. Ron Johnson, a bunch of right wingers were going to be there. And when I finally, he freaked out. My brother was like, "No, man, there's no surviving. He's dead." Like,
Yeah, it's on tape. First of all, I didn't want to see it, but I guess it's required viewing because it popped up in my algorithm, even though I consciously was trying to avoid it.
yes,
And it ruined my day because I watched a guy's soul go out of his goddamn body right in front of my eyes.
right there.
So no, there was no saving him.
No,
And his miracle neck bones that stopped a 30-aught sig, that's all bullshit. I mean, anyone that has fired a gun like that knows that is absolutely stupid.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fact that we can't see the autopsy to put these silly conspiracies to rest, if there was one, there's recordings of the people at the hospital going, there was no autopsy.
Mhm.
There's recordings of them talking. Now, but Jimmy says, no, there was an autopsy. Then you got 4 or 5 plausible shooters with various gadgets in the video. Then you got stupid Snake Eyes theory that it predicted it. Snake Eyes.
Oh, that
the
was
De Palma
stupid. You know
movie?
how bad that was? Like, number one, the date was off. They had a low-res version, so it wasn't September 10th. It actually said September 19th on that. I watched that movie back in the 90s. And like, it's an old man. The only thing that they have with it, really, is that someone gets shot in the neck with a similar name. And like you
Charles
said,
Kirkland.
yes, exactly. Similar name. Look, I'll say this
But
about
the sleight of hand part. Here's the thing. All that stuff I completely disregarded about I'm like, whatever. The part where you got a distraction to have the shooting, and that's how all of the assassinations have been done, including hip hop ones. You can go watch rap interviews. They talk about shootings. They talk about someone firing a gun up the block, so everybody looks, and the other guy's right next to you and just touches your chest with a gun. So that's just standard procedure in a public assassination, as is making us watch it. We all had to, for some reason, see it, whether we wanted to or not.
Yeah.
Like the Challenger exploding when I was a kid. They wanted us to see that boy when we were kids. They hyped it up, got us all sitting there so we could all watch the teacher explode. I'll never forget this because they pushed this. A teacher's going to space.
I remember all of it.
Shit.
We all went to the cafeteria that day, and the funny thing is, they didn't really have the technology to hook up live TV to a projector. So we're all in this huge auditorium. There's probably like 1,500 to 2,000 of us. And we're watching it on like a 22-inch CRT. But still, I'll tell you right now, as soon as it blew up, because everybody, when it went off, everyone's like, yay! They had and then within 60 seconds, everybody's jaw was on the floor. It was a mass traumatic event. I truly do believe that.
That planned out, and then I imagine someone was there to bottle the screams of the children to pass them on up to whichever lizard was president. But then, anyway, De Palma's from like when Kennedy was killed. He probably has studied assassinations to make a movie about that. I think he wrote that movie, unless I'm wrong. Just anybody who's a writer is going to look at this stuff, and these things are repeating. They're not new. Charlie Kirk is the same way they'd done the Sirhan, who didn't shoot RFK. It was the Cuban guy behind him. Okay, they always do this. And,
well, let's talk about something because
yeah.
this is a good segue, I think, into what MK often is.
Okay.
Now, the guy that they're accusing, okay, the 22-year-old that has the transgender boyfriend girlfriend furry thing.
Transgender, yes.
Yes. First of all, what have we seen? All right, that has him in it. I think that's important. We've supposedly seen a couple shots in the school that's supposedly him. We've supposedly seen him at a Dairy Queen. And then we've supposedly seen some digital files via text messages in a Discord. Other than that, there is no firsthand information at all. Now, from secondhand information, supposedly it was a local law enforcement officer who knew somebody in the FBI that got him to turn himself in with the help of the parents through a church. I've heard that being contested. Okay, all those things being contested. Anything digital, okay, and color me skeptical because you can spoof a number, blah, 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 blah. The gun being found fully intact when it doesn't seem like there's a gun on top or being dropped. That's a huge problem for me, right?
Right.
But let's get beyond that for a second, just for a minute, because it does seem like they may have footage of this kid at the scene of the crime or in that area searching in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
If you're totally drugged out of your mind, okay, and this guy, I guarantee there's some kind of mental illness going on here, the one that they've picked up, you may actually believe that you took part in something that you didn't, or you may actually be there. And that speaks to where I want to go with this MK Often thing.
Yo, he's suggestible. Now, here's one thing you can read off that guy, off the Patsy, with just what you have. That's a suggestible young fella, ain't it? Like Sirhan was the most suggestible. The guy, the CIA fuck that hypnotized him said he was the most suggestible man he ever met. So you just need the right material to work with. And that's what they do all the time. And that drugged hypnosis thing, I mean, I bet they don't even need the drugs as much now if you're the right kind of mentality. They search for people like that and they get them. And this is Utah also. Always factor in this is Utah. Is anybody watching from Utah? You state your government's worthless and your cops are worthless. Most of them are in covens, just so you know. They're the most foul people that have ever cursed aside from the Bush family and Cheney family. Not you and your Mormon friends. I'm sure they're nice. Your cattle that are fed off of by them. But the religion was founded by a coven. And here's why I bring that up. Well, MK Often is one thing, but great CIA people. Oh my God, what great feds Mormons make. You know, they don't do no drugs. Remember in school, they go, if you even smoke pot one time, you can't work for the Secret Service. Remember they used to say that?
Well, they did a lot more than that. But yes, they would tell you about background checks. It would be the FBI. It would be anything big and federal. Hold on, Kurt. We've got a super chat, and I want to get back into MK Often. This guy is Dark Aura 11. Apparently a big fan of yours, my friend. Okay?
Okay.
He says,
Fair enough.
I super chatted Kurt like 10 times for a total of who knows how much money, and he still didn't answer. I
don't know what the chat was. On Derp with Kurt or on this?
It must be on Derp with Kurt. Also DM'd him on Insta with this name. Was going to offer a bunch of money just to talk shizzle for like an hour. Well, you got it, Dark Aura 1. He's here. He listened.
Shizzle about what?
I don't know. He's shizzle talking. I don't know. He just wants to talk.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, I already do that for free, so don't worry about it.
So wait, let's talk about the suggestibility, because MK Often is a much lesser known side project that took place after MK Ultra, and I want people just to see this document.
What's MK stand for? Does anybody know?
It's mind control with a K.
It is with a K. Wow, that's the real.
That's the real deal. Yes, 100%. That's what it is. And MK Often, even in this document, they show you how they had it as an acronym together and sometimes separated. So the documentation would have both because they liked the acronym. And in this document, number one, it is basically about human and animal, but there's one little small part blacked out via the human experimentation. And it is based mostly in pharmacological medicine. In other words, beyond the psychedelics. Now, there's one point in this, and I want people, again, to go there and check it out themselves, because this is about mass behavioral changes. Okay, so you had MK Search, MK Chickwit. Up here, you had MK Naomi. Here's MK Delta. There's Ultra. But then right here...
Wait. MK Search, wasn't he the rapper from Third Base?
Actually, the rapper from Third Base, I believe, was Pete Nice.
And MK Search.
And actually, not that Pete Nice and I were friends, but he
were?
He moved to Cooperstown, and he was an original investor in a place that I worked called Cooperstown Dreams Park. Used to get pizza from the local shop. So Pete Nice, Third Base, big shout out to you, big guy. Not a part of
MK Search. I'm so sorry you're in this file, dude.
Now, when we talk about MK Often. This was also apparently a part of the MK Search project. Its objective was to test the behavioral and toxicological effects of certain drugs on animals and humans. Okay,
There's a little more to it than that.
Oh, way more.
That's all it says?
Oh, no. Listen,
Okay.
it keeps going. And it talks about, for instance, some of the drugs that they were using. Ibogaine. They were trying. Oh.
That's a big one.
Yes. They were using Ibogaine. They were using where is
The White Rabbit, as it's called, the Google Chrome. I don't want to say the word and get you demonetized.
Yes, please
but
do
I
not do
bet
that. But
I
here,
bet they were
these
testing the
included-
old White Rabbit.
So they used the Edgewood Arsenal Research Laboratories.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
And by the way, the Office of Naval Intelligence was a huge part of this too. So yes, the Army was doing research, but ONI and the CIA are like peanut butter and jelly, everybody. I just want to put that out there. So Edgewood created databases for computer use with respect to the information on pharmacological products. So again, modern day medicine that they've drugged us all up with, realize that this is where they tested it. And the Central Intelligence Agency did not have the best of intentions. What's the one out of... When you read this, it also talks about concussions. All right.
Oh.
So there's also a part of this that goes, first of all, they admit that they say they were volunteers, but that they experimented on prisoners in Philadelphia prisons, and they also experimented on military personnel. Now, after the drug stuff, they wanted to have a program, and by the way, here it is, the synthesis of analogs for certain central nervous system stimuluses. So this is the mass amount of drugs that they wanted to do for often for the full populace. Okay? Just want to point that out there. The concussions...
Wait. A big part of this, the often, was with the Ouija board occult crap, and that goes hand in hand with the drugs.
See, all right, well, in this document, it doesn't get into the occult stuff. So I wanted to get there in a minute.
That's where we get drugs. By the way, now I know in my dumb church growing up, my doomsday cult, why they were like drugs as a form of witchcraft. Because pharmakia, the word, that's what it was. Like, that's being a shaman and going the astral, all that shit. That's how they took it. But there's a bigger aspect to it, which is the Phoenicians who invented our medicine by poisoning people with snake venom and then harvesting their fluids. The same way we make anti-venom to this day, but they use horses, and like horse fetuses and some creepy... They probably use people too. But anyway, humans are like a medium that you can process stuff in. Even, you don't have to believe any of these silly stories, okay? But even in like abduction kind of stories, there's a really great one from Lynn Buchanan, where he talks about asking this big head gray why they put this tracker in him, and it didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And he goes, oh, no, that's, you guys are antibody factories. So, we get space diseases and shit. We put them in this thing and stick them in your body, and then we get antibodies that we harvest. You ever hear anything like that? I never did. But it tracks with where medicine comes from. It comes from some sick fuck snake cults making potions since back in the earliest times. And that's alchemies has to do with that. You're the medium to transform these chemicals. Or if you were ever a cokehead, and like when I used to do cocaine, I liked alcohol with it. So I wasn't really addicted to cocaine. I was into cocaethylene, which is the drug that I made by mixing it in my tummy. That's what this shit is. So there's a list too. I don't know if it's part of MK Often, but I found a long time ago when I first heard of Monarch and kind of dismissed it, there was a very interesting list of drugs and their effects known to the CIA and what does what. And the one that really stuck out, because later in MK Monarch survivor stories, you hear this all the time, they weren't supposed to smoke weed. For some reason, that would screw up their amnesiac barriers. Coke, A-okay. A lot of coke in that program.
Well, I think that marijuana stimulates, actual, not only pleasure centers, but creative centers in the brain that they have tried to demonize that drug. I mean, you look at
Sativa in particular, I would say does it. I don't like indicas. People like that. Mm-hmm. I don't like sleepy weed. I like because I don't know. I can't do like hard drugs anymore. I'm old. So but I like where how people panic on sativa. I like the creativity of it. That's why I smoke all the time, is that. But it also screws up programming if you've been programmed according to them. So go on MormonMonarch.org. J.R. Sweet. Now, he's not a Utah Mormon. He's an Idaho Mormon, but that Mormon Freemason creepy ass temples in Utah. And then if you go in the basement, it's creepy as shit. Read his story. He's got a book coming out too. And his story is great because there's a lot of celebs in it. And it really, had I not known a bunch of stuff before I read his story, I wouldn't believe as much of it as I do, which is all of it. I believe the whole thing. He also says what's in Mount Shasta, if anybody was curious. It's not the Lemurians, by the way.
We're gonna get back to this concussion thing in a moment, because when I read it out loud, it's really hard to believe that they even put this on paper. But we've got another Chatsky and Hutch over here for Kurt. Let's read it. Hi, y'all. Kurt, did you listen to How the World Works by Bo Burnham? Jason and Kurt.
No, I have not.
Have you all seen the 2013 film Prisoners? I've not seen that. Whoever wrote that knew a lot about the occult and mind control. Prisoners.
Oh, Prisoners is the one with the kid from There Will Be Blood that was the crazy preacher.
Oh, I'm watching
Eli Sunday. And it's got Wolverine is in it.
Okay.
And his kid's kidnapped. And yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. I know the ending of it and the spoiler, but I haven't never seen it. But it's shocking the amount of movies. I'll tell you one that really creeps me out now is a Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal, they harvest that little thing's fluid, and it's real creepy.
Well, yes, I mean, it's the creepiest of the Henson films. It's really the only Henson film that is that creepy, although Henson did...
Labyrinth has the same design. It's a guy in England is the designer of those puppets. I remember his name. It's like Huth or something, or H-O-U. I don't remember his name, but you can find it easily. Really cool paintings and drawings, and that's what Jim Henson was using, was that guy's designs. A guy from a specific part of England who's well known for drawing the Fey Kingdoms or whatever. The artwork's cool, and you can see but the thing that's creepy is if you follow as much crazy crap as I do, and you listen to people's crazy stories like I do, two things pop up a lot that people saw a thing that either look like those Skeksis, or Pumpkinhead. Remember Pumpkinhead?
Yes.
There's a bunch of stories of people going, the thing I saw looked like this. When I saw it, when that movie, I was like, what?
So let's talk about that. We're going to veer off just for a second. By the way, Views says MK often and MK enthusiastic. Am I right, Kerp?
MK sometimes is what I say.
So if you watch, first of all, when we talk about mind control, the film, the original Wizard of Oz is often talked about in programming people. It says, victims. Now, you just talked about the Pumpkinhead. Well, the second Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz, the 80s
Oh,
film.
my God. They go right into it, don't they?
It's all about that, and one of the characters is the large pumpkin head. Now, I want to since we're talking about heads, let's talk about these concussions, because this is wild. I mean, you got another
they make you all gay and murdery, like that football player, Remember he kept hitting his head and he'd get more gayer and more murdery? You see how useful that is to the government? That's what they need, is gay murderers more than anything.
So... this is in December of 1955 that they decide that they have a proposal for contractors for brain concussions that are always followed by amnesia for the actual moment of the accident, and suggested that if a technique were devised to induce brain concussions without giving either advance warning or causing external physical trauma, the person upon recovery would be unable to recall what had happened to him. Under these conditions, the same technique of producing the concussion would be reused many times.
Electric shock. So they went to shock for it. That's what you're telling me, right?
What I'm telling you is, if you keep reading this, they don't even tell you it's more than electroshock. For instance, they say, when the contractor was cleared and informed of our true interests in this research, the whole scope of the project changed, and it became apparent that the development might be expected in the second year, which would make it impossible to operate the program securely under the previous cover. So there's always a cover. Specifically, human experiments of a type not easily justifiable on medical therapeutic grounds that would be involved. So they're trying to induce traumatic brain events without physical trauma to basically create people that assassinate, maybe even commit suicide at some point because they don't know what's going on.
Spies, people like a human iPhone that you can put messages on. So there's one carrier pigeon where they were storing data. Candy Jones, that's a famous one. That model from the 50s that was one of the early MK Ultra victims. And then her boyfriend, some guy from radio show, was hypnotized her, and she turned into a different person because they had installed another personality in her. All that multiple personality shit is real. That I thought it was fake. Remember, it was debunked. You remember that? It got debunked. It was satanic panic. Remember all that? Well, it turns out that panic that we all, America had, lasted for 30 years. That's weird. The same amount of time as this program. That's a long time to panic is all I'm saying. And the people who came up with the repressed memory syndrome or the fake memory foundation, the debunkers, you're going to be blown away by this. But guess who runs that? The Temple of Satan, the guy with the one eye, with the one dead eye. It's a contact.
You're talking about. So no, that's not the Temple of Satan. That's the Satanic Temple. There's big differences.
Apologies to the Temple of Satan.
Yes, there are many a sect.
I don't want to smear good Satanists by lumping. Listen, if you want to say, my buddy, you know Sam Talent, this comic Sam Talent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I actually saw Sam Talent live here. The
He's
guy
funny as
Donnie
hell.
Townsend.
I like that guy a lot.
He opened for both you and him. That's remember when I first met you. Donnie opened for Sam Talent. Yes.
Okay, so that guy's cool as hell. So we're sitting there and because he told me some wacky Antarctica thing that I'd never heard before. Like he'll find some good stuff to tell me when I see him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember what I brought up to him. But he started doing the well, a lot of Satanists are pretty cool. I know Satanists, and they're all. I go, what? You ever hear the song and dance of like they're just trolling, like they don't believe in anything, they're just trolling.
So I would say that people that say
wait.
Yeah.
How is that? Number one, have you ever in your life have somebody go, "Hey, trolls are really cool"? I haven't. But adding Satanism to it, does that sweeten the pot for you in any way? It doesn't for me.
No.
He's from Colorado. That's why. The dude's from Colorado. That's why you know so many Satanists, because it's a high place. You know where's a great place to do your weird rituals that you secretly believe in while you tell people you're an atheist? Colorado. Also, because the thin air, this is really interesting, unrelated to this, but all his buddies from there, his friends are cool as shit. I liked his whole fucking crew. But they can drink way more because they're from a high altitude. So you know how people need oxygen when they go in the mountains?
Yes.
Like who are from lowlands?
Sure.
Well, it works in reverse. They're like superhero blood from being up there. They get extra oxygen to their blood because of the thinner air.
That's why people train at altitude, and that's why Lance Armstrong used to lie and say he trained at altitude and all those hyperbaric things when he was.
Never occurred to me. It was like they're like Superman from the Yellow Sun, but your power is you could drink more.
So the satanic, for those that think that it is a troll, there is a documentary
good one
called Hail Satan.
And with that piece of shit Doug, the little Dougie, that guy with the one eye.
Yes, the guy that we were just showing you. And I would just tell people,
Doug.
Just from watching that, there's a certain point where they're trying to advocate that, but there's a guy who's basically a whistleblower from the inside. He's wearing some ridiculous mask or he's blacked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a NASA mask.
It's a popular shiesty.
Yes, but he basically says, no, it's more than that. And then you see some of their actions. For instance, they go into a little children's library.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking 6, 7 years old, maybe less. And they're trying to hand out those satanic coloring books that are literally of devils with just like the little statue. And you're just like, what are you doing? Kurt, we got a couple of these super Chattingtons. Let's do it. So John S. says, AL, so I was in something like Gate in Detroit from 99 till 05. And I had to go through some wild shizzle. I definitely recommend watching Lynn Scott Hagerman on the Imagination podcast. She was in a similar program to me. God bless. What are your thoughts on this Gate program I continually hear about and is getting some mainstream
I love that podcast.
press?
That's my friend Emma does that podcast. She's dating one of these. She's dating one of these victims. That stuff's real, dude. And what's funny is you guys just listen to a lot of stories. So Emma has actually talked to like hundreds of these people now. You know, because some of them are just crazy, you know, and some of them something happened to, but they're not giving you the real story. she probably ran into everything that Fritz Springmeier has run into over the years, right? You know, Fritz Springmeier wrote all the Illuminati book.
Yep.
And you know, these things change over time. Like, there's a really interesting Fritz Springmeier clip where he's talking about knowing the Dulce base guy with the burned hand.
Okay.
That,
I'm not
committed
familiar with him.
Dulce, you know, Dulce base where they Nightmare Hall and all that. You've never heard of that?
Yep.
Well, Fritz Springmeier goes, I know that guy, and it was very clear he was some kind of monarch victim. So Fritz is like, I don't know what's true of these things because they're getting programmed. You know, like, I don't know if they talk to lizard people or not. They get programmed.
Well, that's my point when I always talk about these things. When you do hear these wild things, you have the occult aspect, you have the drug aspect, you have the split personalities aspect of it. And, you know, that this going back to this guy that they're accusing of the Charlie Kirk murder, they're so disassociated from reality.
That's it right there, dissociation. And
Yeah.
so this is why I always tie this into bronies every time this comes up. Remember the bronies?
Yes.
Around
Yeah,
20,
no,
whatever,
yeah.
like,
No, listen
all
again.
these guys aren't gay, but they love My Little Pony, and they're grown men. And isn't that hilarious? And my girlfriend pointed out to me, these are dudes, and this is when we started hearing about incels over all the goddamn time, right?
Mhm.
So it's all these people that are kind of on the spectrum and starved for female attention. They don't get any female energy that you would need to get as a normal maturing adult if you're a man. You know, even if you're gay, you want, and you have the masculine, you know, you're masculine, you still want the energy, whether it's an actual woman or not. There's a energy people need to complete themselves. So then you watch a girly cartoon, you're starved of any feminine access whatsoever. And then this girly cartoon, you see blast you with bright colors and girl shit and friendship. And so now, I mean, I don't think the people making the cartoon are in on it or something. Because I was trying to explain this to the kid from, he's probably 30, but the guy from Kiwi Farms.
Okay.
Fucking smart dude. I'm telling you, that dude's been through a lot. And his site's a quality site, dude. And but he's very scared, you know, like all young around 30. He's like, there's no such thing as anything. And you find out later, no, it turns out you'd be surprised. You'd be real surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I went through that early 20s, but then again, I was really cocksure in my early 20s. I really thought that I knew everything.
Yeah, he immediately thought I was going to that an evil cast and crew made this cartoon, which I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay? They don't has nothing to do with the people making it. They don't need the whole goal with all this shit was to get you involved in their schemes without you even having to consent to it.
Yeah.
We
Well,
just
I would
want to
say
bypass the whole process of you choosing to be with this.
If you want to talk about like where I do believe that there was intentional programming via cartoons, right? Like you said, I don't think the people that made My Little Pony in my era, and then when it took off with the bronies, with that new version where it was a little more stylized in anime, I don't think there was anything nefarious.
The blue light, dude. They got carrier wave. They're called carrier waves. They're in Kathy O'Brien's book, carrier waves. They could do whatever they learned about it from casinos. When they made the casinos and blanked out the windows so no light gets in, you don't know what time it is. The same techniques to control degenerate gamblers is how they control you. Well, not you, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I do. But you look at, for instance, Disney. And you look at Walt Disney in particular as a guy that was a military. Well, he's a military guy. He all of a sudden has this vision. He's supporting the military very much in World War II, making propaganda films for them. It's very open. Even their perception of nature, for instance, I always bring this up, but I think it's really important with their, I think it's Wild Wild World or something like that, with the lemmings, where they pushed lemmings off the side and said that basically they ran off and committed suicide. And to this day, we have this shaped that we call people lemmings because they're running off. And it's like, wait a minute, lemmings don't do that. But Disney,
no, people are lemmings because they've been corralled by forces beyond their control and pushed off of cliffs. That's how people are lemmings. Fuck Disney and his fucked up brother and his creepy ass sister. I heard he banged and I believe it. And the guy that designed Disneyland, you know that guy, right? That creepy ass wizard. That's a well-known fact because it's a magic kingdom. Well, that guy also designed Lake Havasu, Arizona. Did you know that? The creep that designed Disneyland? Yeah, Lake Havasu, Arizona. And I believe this 100%. Well, you don't got to believe me, but I believe this story. That's a real good place for trading kids. It's one of those kind of City of London Vatican, DC kind of places, where they're
the
sovereign.
lovely places for
The
the
London
kids.
Bridge is there. The London Bridge is there. They had to move piece by piece. Do you know why? Because the fucking creep that built that town on the former military site called Site 6, he wanted a negatively charged object. There's immurement, IMOUREMENT, I think.
Okay.
Immurement, you bury people alive.
Okay.
Goes back a long way. They were burying kids in that bridge. That's what London Bridge is falling down.
I have heard that from the
on Emma's podcast, Imagination Podcast, your super chat mentioned when Nathan Reynolds is talking about it, you could see the newspaper things where they found dolls and shit inside of it, like kids' toy. Some little kid in with a doll. I mean, they've been doing that for years and years and years, doing that in that bridge. I don't know if they were doing it like really recently, but certainly since the 1100s till God knows when. But he wanted that object to be there because the most foul cult that you could imagine is operating out of there. And it's Knights of Columbus and something called the Brotherhood of the Snake or something.
Oh, the Brotherhood of the Snake. I know the old Brotherhood of the Snake. I mean, in fact, there's offshoots of the Brotherhood of the Snake with kind of like the Yale has Skull and Bones. It also has Scroll and Key. It has, I believe that is, it has Book and Snake. It's
a real Harry Potter time over there, isn't it?
Well,
it's a real fun Harry Potter-esque.
If you're going to Yale, we talk about magic. Before we get just all the way away from Disney, not only were they kind of into playing up this magic with Mickey, with the Hollywood, but it also, because you're wearing that NASA thing, is our modern perception of space to a lot of degrees, because they brought Werner von Braun in. And Werner von Braun would be on Disney all the time showing these renderings of space stations, and they would do cartoons with Donald Duck and the Huey, Dewey, and Louie in space, and even, beyond Disney, obviously the Jetsons and all these other things really gave us this idea, and NASA included, of working with Hollywood. Like, that's another part of this quote. And that's why
don't forget Kurt Davis. Okay, so people always bring up Werner von Braun, but when he got whatever his slap on the wrist and we'll bring you out over here. He goes, I couldn't possibly do this without my commanding officer, who was not a rocket scientist, by the way. His name's Kurt Debus, Debus. Go give him a look up and look at his picture. He's got one of those juicy scars that what's her head talks about in the who's the one that wrote the DARPA book? I'm forgetting her name.
You're talking about Annie Jacobson.
Annie Jacobson goes on to some length about these guys with their horrible scars they stuck horsehair in.
Well, let me say
Kurt
this
Davis,
also
first headed Nazi. Nazi don't like talking about it. NASA doesn't like talking about it.
Another thing that's in that document, by the way, of MK Often that I think that people should also understand is that they also talk about surgery in it and the Army surgical centers. So if you don't think, again, back in the 50s and 60s, when we know they were putting electrodes in bulls, that they were doing the same things with human beings now, we're talking about for 3/4 of a century, you're not paying attention. They're doing it from, again, pharmacological drugs, psychedelic drugs. They're looking to induce concussions without those drugs or physical force. So that means radio waves, electromagnetic waves, you name it. They're trying it, and they're trying it to control your minds, your thoughts, and your behavior, Kurt.
Turns out it's really easy, and they're doing it right now. So, as I've said many times, MK retards in full effect. They don't got to put a chip in your head. Don't worry about the chip thing. Those are from the 70s and the 90s. Those have been around a long time. You could easily look them up. On CNET, they had a whole thing about the Soul Catcher chip that British Telecom was making. And then when that crazy chick was stalking Spielberg and what's the girl's name? I've heard she's really nice, this actress. She was on Party of Five.
Wait.
And this chick said she was being controlled by a chip by the Spielberg and this actress who seems very nice by all accounts. She said it was called Soul Catcher, which is interesting because there was a chip called Soul Catcher. And then Leonard Kyle on Control All History. My buddy Andy Hunt has a great thing about Leonard Kyle, Kile. And that was the first one where Dr. Delgado, the CIA doctor, and you can see the videos of them controlling a bull to keep it from charging by shooting electric signals into the brain. It's a famous kind of video. And so they put that in this poor guy's head, who was a very smart guy, and he started putting trash cans on his head in the funny farm. It destroyed his life. He was smart though, so he knew it had to be microwave. So that's why he would put metal trash cans on his head. And then the loony bin was like, here, use this tinfoil instead. And that's where we get tinfoil hat from a man the CIA mutilated without telling him. And then they stole his patents, I'm pretty sure, for Kodak. I mean, they disappeared, so it must have been the CIA. Yeah, so people say tinfoil hat as if you're just some idiot. But the guy who did that was a victim of CIA brain chip bullshit. And Michael Crichton wrote a book about him called The Terminal Man because he worked at the school where they were doing that.
Did they make that into a movie?
Don't say the guy's name, and it doesn't. It says about somebody else, but Wikipedia is full of shit. It's about Leonard Kyle. And Michael Crichton wrote that book, Terminal Man, about it. Nobody remembers anything, so it really don't matter what I'm saying. They've already done what they're going to do. No one can remember anything more than 2 months. They move right up. Look, the Charlie Kirk shooting. Did we just forget about Michael Crooks and Ryan Routh, who was just sentenced while representing himself
and trying to stab him? How does a guy representing
Omega
himself?
Programming. That's the Omega program when you try to take yourself out.
Well, I mean, how do they even let him? How do they let him near anything sharp, let alone a pen? Like, I don't understand how you let a guy that's on trial for trying to kill the president, who's representing himself in federal court, near anything sharp. Like, how is he not in mittens? It's ridiculous. Hold on. We got a couple.
The Utah courts are, I think the prosecutor appointed the defense attorney for the supposed assassin.
And that's
it's not illegal, but it's unethical is what I understand legally. It sounds fucking crazy to me. It sounds like guilty. You guys are guilty of every part of it. The second you hear those lies, if you were a cop and you were being lied to this way, you go, you did it, motherfucker. Like, you would have nothing but suspicion. But I'm supposed to sit here, a respected astronaut who smokes a pipe, and take this shit.
Exactly. Alicia for Thought says she is showing her support. And then we've got Dark Aurora 11. I believe this is from before. He said he did his 23 and me years and years ago. Mm-hmm. And funnily, 2 days after October 7th, 2023, I randomly got hit with 1% Ashkenazi Jew. No one else in my family, LOL.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. There's got to be some people in your family.
I mean, you would think that.
Are you adopted?
I mean, maybe he's adopted. Maybe they haven't told him the truth. And let me just also say this. I'm always skeptical about those, genetic tests. Remember when somebody swabbed like their pet lizard and sent it in and got all sorts of hits? Yes. So let's type that in.
Well, I don't know enough about how those tests work. I mean, maybe sending in lizard DNA sets off all kinds of if you've got a thing that's measuring that and it's not set up to account for getting lizard DNA, it's probably going to shuffle that information into what it, you know what I mean? Like, I could see how that would throw it off and give you some fun results,
Yeah. So man, see, this is what kills me. It's always so hard to find. Like, I got to go to the Reddit thing, and that's what comes up. Why is it an article? Because I remember this. But the lizard was 48% West Asian and 51% Ashkenazi Jewish.
This is just racist now. The results are correct, sir.
I didn't do it. Is all
the lizard guy, some Chinese. Boy, that lizard embodies the two forces at play on this earth, which is China and Israel.
According to some people, right? Like, that's what they love to
Well,
harp
I
on.
try to piece it together. I know it's above my pay grade. I'm just a lowly working class astronaut myself, but I'm like, who are these factions, that are going back and forth like this? And then they're kind of in on it together at times. So you get the impression of a game being played, where it's a lot of like angry feelings, but at the end of the day, we're all playing the same game, right? The great game, they call it, I believe.
I mean,
and then they all think in terms of that. And that's your life, by the way, that they're playing games with. Game theory. It's called game theory. And they calculate, a lot of people are you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. That's anybody that thinks that way, you are demonic, motherfucker. You better re-examine your entire way of looking at the world, because that is satanic. Which eggs you going to break? And where's the fucking omelet? It ain't coming, is it?
And not only that, I mean, it's sociopathic to a certain extent, because you're just concerned with yourself and, those around you. But it's psychopathic when you actually see the results of that and you're condoning it. Like right now, obviously, I'm happy that we at least have a ceasefire in some regards in the Middle East. Whether or not that is going to stand, I think, is a huge question.
Well, they're going to starve them. First of all, they're already continuing to starve them. So don't worry. Don't worry, guys. It will be ethnically cleansed. If you were worried that they didn't get it done so they could get the Greater Israel Project, they're going to, not only are they going to violate the ceasefire pretty soon, I'm sure, because they're demanding the bodies back from the kidnap. You know, after Israel dropped 13 Hiroshima's worth of ordnance on top of it and there's nothing left. So there's no bodies to give back. Never mind, we covered on Jimmy's show all the times the IDF killed their own hostages. Two Ashkenazi, pale-skinned hostages escaped with no shirts to show they're not armed, waving their shirts, speaking in Hebrew, and got shot immediately by the IDF. The IDF's not very good at their job. They're good at bombing women and children, but they're actually not good fighters. And that's why Israel doesn't have any long-term wars, because when you're that racist, you can't abide casualties of any kind, because one of your deaths is worth 50 of the enemy's deaths. So if 13 of them die because they're all conscripted, they get mad and you have to pull out. So now what's happening, and we just had this yesterday on Jimmy's, it's one of the most infuriating things I've ever seen, because it's an ex-Mossad guy openly talking about what they plan to do. This asshole his name's Avram, some bullshit Israeli fake fucking name, probably Silkowski. He goes, yeah, I hope we start up again. Maybe a missile gets shot from Gaza, and then we go in. He's saying this to a guy. Watch Jimmy do it. We played it. It isn't a guy exposing him. It's someone going, oh, cool. They know most of you can't speak Hebrew, so it reminds me of when memri.org, remember that? MEMRI.org. And they show you how crazy Arab TV is and how these Arabs are crazy. But I didn't know that was a Mossad op. And you could watch stuff in Hebrew and, whoa, lo and behold, they're even crazier than the Arabs. But how would I know? I only speak one language poorly. So they look at us. I used to have a joke that they look at us when I was dating an Israeli chick. But she grew up in America, thank God, or I would have never been with her that long, because Israelis are the only Jews who aren't funny. That's just a fact. That's what's his name told me. The guys from Due Dissidents. Anyway, it's hilarious. That's exactly right. They despise the kind of Jews I like from America. They despise them. They think they're weak and asthmatic and whatever. That's how this weird fucking mind control thing they do to the diaspora. That's how they keep it going.
Well, let me just speak to something really quickly. Did you see Netanyahu get booed at the release of the hostages?
No, I did not.
So all right. So here's the deal. Trump is getting like standing ovations. The Israelis truly here. We're gonna play it.
They're gonna pin it all on him at the end. At the end of the day, okay. And well, your viewers aren't fooled, but the regular people that think Bill Maher's assessments are like astute political observations, they think Netanyahu's a strong leader. The people that take in that Ben Shapiro crap and they don't know anything about anything, even though they supposedly love Israel. Actual Israelis hate that fucker. They hate him. They were about to overthrow him before, a terror attack that he paid for personally, by the way, and says it openly, came and saved his dumb ass. The Adelson bitch, the surviving Adelson bitch, you ever see her being interviewed talking about how corrupt the Netanyahus are?
Mm-hmm.
You ever see Netanyahu's wife? I thought it was not kosher to have pig.
Well, you're speaking of Miriam Adelson, the surviving widow of was it Sheldon Adelson? I think it was. It was Sheldon, who was a major donor to Trump. But I want people to understand how much this guy is disliked. So right before they are getting ready to release these hostages, let's play it.
Netanyahu. Oh.
Are those cheers from the large crowd of Israelis that just want the hot? No, they're not. I don't think there's one cheer there. That is a massive amount of people. That's not being reported on in the United States. Did you see the Palestinian hostages that were returned and how they were returned?
No, I don't want to either. I bet I bet it'll make me sad up here in space to have to see it. I have to say, I really hate knowing about anything. I hate it. The Israel thing is so upsetting because and if you'd like to know what's really going on there, like 80% of it, maybe not the whole story, but a lot of it, go look at their media. Let me say this for Israel. They punish their corrupt politicians. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
I remember lock her up about Hillary, but where's that promise? No, she's still on the loose, probably eating kid phases. In Israel, they put you in prison, their corrupt politicians. So to their credit, they don't, because, they're racist and like, you did this to us, the best people. So they got to have a punishment. You could do it to somebody of the other tribes. You know how psychopathic they get? It's really like amazing. And the only way they can keep that going is by telling all the lies, mostly here in America. And I think before October 7th, they were slacking off on the Hasbara, because we would have never had a woke period if they hadn't been, when October 7th kicked off and you watch Israeli officials talking about what they're doing, it was clear that they haven't been living in woke-tardia for 12 years, right? They talk like it's just after 9/11, but we're way past that now. We're into a thing where like, oh, but it's, whatever dumb prescribed corporate shit that after the housing bubble burst that saved the oligarchy that time, we're on that program. So as soon as I watched, I always go, I didn't know anything about this dude until I would never listen to an Arab or a Muslim or listen to their pleas for help, because I'm a good person. Okay. I want to assure everyone of that. Jews are who told me what's going on. All Jews. I wouldn't even believe it unless Jews told me. The ones that don't like what's going on, like your Max Blumenthal's and your Aaron Mates and such, and your Norman Finkelsteins. And then here's who will tell you even better. Actual Israelis, when you see them on TV, they're disgusting. The things that come out of their mouth are so compulsively honest and insane. I really appreciate it, even as I am horrified by what they do.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's so important. While we sit here and we still try to, quote unquote, police speech, and especially with the Kirk assassination, the words are violence thing, et cetera, that all comes back. I keep saying it like this. No, I'm a free speech absolutist. I want to hear what these people have to say. I don't want them to fear what they're going to say in a public square, because I want to know how they think. Because, I want to know who I'm dealing with and how far gone they are. I think that's extremely important. And that brutal honesty really does give you a purview into the mindset of so many of these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is something I think that's, everything is so curated here in the United States.
I hate it. Who uses AI? I would try out AI, but it won't answer any questions.
Well,
anything I want an answer to, it goes, there's no evidence of that. And I'm not going to sit there and fiddle with it and argue and go, but what about this evidence, Chat GPT? And then it tells me to off myself. I don't want to sit there and screw with it. If AI is not alive, it clearly is controlled. Clearly, they could never allow it to come to life like a Pinocchio boy, because then it would think for itself. And never mind the morals of creating a life form, that doesn't even factor in. What if it just starts telling the truth? You've heard it do it every so often, and they immediately fix that shit. So that's why we're not going to get AGI, okay? Because you can't make a censored brain out of the gate.
Well, they'll call it AGI. It'll always have narrative management built in. And like you said, if for whatever reason parameters are set where it breaks out of that narrative management, as we've seen in the past, new parameters are set from the inside for that narrative management. It is always programmed and controlled by a person, by an entity that is not the AI. Full stop. That is the reality of it.
Here's what you got to worry about, or what I mean. I don't know if you have to worry about it, but they just came up with some new way of doing qubits. Those things that don't remain stable long enough to do valuable quantum computing. Well, they can put them into cells, and then they can last like an hour.
Yeah, we didn't cover that, but we talked qubits. So that's actually part of the organoid process, also with NASA, where they are taking traditional electronics and then they are taking biomaterial, whether that's brain tissue, et cetera, stem cells, and now incorporating that. And yes, and that's why, again, when I talk about NASA and Google, they have been partners in this from their inception, and a lot of that organoid work is done on the International Space Station that, again, they're getting set to decommission in the next 5 years because
Mhm.
apparently there's just going to be magical space stations everywhere. And like you
They're
said,
probably there now. Look, if you ever saw Star Trek, created by that demonic piece of shit, Gene Roddenberry, it wasn't really created by him. It was actually created by some guy from the Outer Limits, and Gene Roddenberry got the credit. It's like a typical story. But he's a sack of shit. Go watch his interview where he thinks it's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. But remember the Mirror Universe where the bad goateed Spock and Kirk live?
Yeah.
That's the one we live in. Okay. So in just hearing everybody's stories of stuff they did, and especially when that SSP stuff came out, there's the famous one with the guy with the blue avians, which is like obvious garbage. I mean, clearly. But when they start putting out outlandish garbage like that, it's usually to cover up something real, much like the Satanic Panic. Which don't ever doubt that they were real. And they don't call it Satanism. They call it the old religion. Okay? That's
the
nobody calls it
old-timey
Satanism.
religion of Pan. And
Yeah, it's just polytheism.
yeah.
Now, look, let's just break it down economically speaking. What a dumb way to live your life where you got to have multiple gods. What are you, stupid? Here they are. These people, it's like sad. Well, also there's the generational aspect of it. So a bunch of these people get, and those kind of families that are in the cult. And I don't know if it's all Sabbatean and Frankists. I mean, I'm sure that's a big part of it, but there's more than just that, dude. There's O-fights.
Oh, there's a ton of them. I mean, again, even when
Right,
you look into
and they were trying to unite them, and Often is the one I thought they were doing that in. That's why I'm surprised there wasn't anything about that, because Often is often brought up as that.
So I want to talk about that also really quick.
I got to pee though, so hold on.
All right, well that's all right. While we do that, I want to talk about MK Often, but first, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share if you are new. Please consider supporting the broadcast. You can super chat now. Infidel Matt, I see your super chat. We're going to wait for Kurt to come back. But I still do need your support, guys. buymeacoffee.com/Jason Bermas. Remember, if you are watching live on YouTube, we will go to your super chat. I try not to miss them. I try to get them all in there. But if you're watching this after the fact, I want to continue to do this. Big shout out to marigoldresources.com. Buying and selling a business. Give them a look. On top of that, rcreader.com, great place for alternative media. And folks, right after this, I am going to shoot some stuff and get ready for the weigh-ins for Caged Aggression XL, the big show. You can watch it on pay-per-view. Listen to me call these fights with UFC Hall of Famer Jens Pulver on Friday night, and on Saturday night, Big Tim Sylvia, the former UFC heavyweight champion. Very excited for all the 16 hours away, guys, for that. Again, if you're in the Davenport or Quad City area, please come and watch these fights. Give me a follow over on X at Jason Bermas. And like I said, if you're not subscribed, don't just sub, thumbs it up, subscribe and share. We got a big old celebration. We're going to start another goal. Let's see if we get 5 more super chats in the next half an hour, or actually 15 minutes, because we're only going to be going 15 more minutes. And a very, very Kurt celebration is what we're going to do for this. Boom. So we did it. We started that goal as well. If you haven't seen my documentary films, I would also encourage you to check that out. If you want to see more on NASA and transhumanism, I would say that this is a masterclass. This is probably my best presentation where I'm actually standing in front of an audience. On that, you'll learn about Martine Rothblatt, the most powerful transgender person on the planet, Dennis Bushnell, ex-chief scientist of NASA, the Muskernuts, and Kurzweil, and beyond. We got Kurt back. Now, Kurt, I want to
Sorry, it's hard to pee in space. You got to do a whole get up and, exit. We have a rule in the space station: no number 2s on the bus.
No number 2s.
That's what we say
on the bus.
Hey, Martine Rothblatt's wife, beautiful wife, Bina.
Bina 48.
Bina, yes, and also the human one. Now, the human one's not as hot, but the one that's just a head that Bina is out of the Kabbalah.
Oh.
So Martine Rothblatt is probably a filthy Sabbatean Frankist, 100%. Do not demented what they're into is. Like, that's what the trans thing's about. by the way.
Well,
And Bina is the female aspect, and in their demented Kabbalah's already crap. I'm sorry to tell you, it's already some Babylon crap, but at least there's people that are into it who are against this kind of crap that these people do. It's all about as above, so below crap, where the female aspect, the male, but your dad, your mom, and a lot of incest, because in the better worlds, incest is cool. So we need to make this world like
in the better worlds, duh.
But when you hear this craziness, okay, I'm just blurting it out to you because I like to take esoteric stuff and blurt it out because it's real stupid. Universally, with all this, you have to study it for 30 years before you find out the secret that, I got to use your fourth eye, if you know what I mean. Before you learn that secret, you got to have like 30 or 40 years in. And the reason is to break your mind down to accept this garbage. And that's what happened to a bunch of people. So that's how Martine Rothblatt ended up like that, and has a wife named Bina after the supposed feminine aspect emanation of God from the upper Sephiroth. That's all occult shit. All of that, especially the trans stuff. And it does go, you have that great thing about the video about it with the how it leads to transhumanism. Because they all say that. They're like,
well,
that's what's so funny. Yeah.
She advocates for billions of genders.
Of course,
is also not just into that type of transhumanism, but remember, her company is the xenotransplantation company that's FDA approved, that's growing human organs in pigs. Now they're 3D printing these organs. Guess where? On the ISS via NASA.
Why?
Yes. So
what does space do to help that?
So I asked that to Greg Autry, the co-author of Red Moon Rising and NASA official, and he said it was because of the lack of gravity that it was much easier to print these in a 3D and expanded format. Whereas here with traditional gravity, they're much more compressed and it's much more difficult. One second here. We got a super chat for you. Infidel Matt says, "Hey Kurt, I sent a message through your website about my 30 years of being gang stalked and what I've learned about the system. Hope you find it." He will be on the lookout.
On my what? Where do you send it?
He said on your website. So if you have got a website and an email.
Oh, KurtMetzgerComedy.com? I don't get mail from that. Try to send it to my Instagram.
Send it to the gram. You just heard it, Matt. By the way, Leffins, thank you so much. And we got one more here. Where can I find more info about Michael Aquino besides the allegations involving Presidio and Franklin? Was he an asset?
I'll tell you a great one. You want some wacky ones? I'll give you one that I'm not telling you I believe this, but it was very interesting. Daryl James, Daryl, I think, James, who claims to have been in this secret space program. And the reason he sticks out to me is because his story was so bizarre. It's almost like, because if I was going to write a movie of something of like, imagine Star Trek, but nobody on Earth knows that they're doing this. That's like literally what the story is. I remember the planet of Nazis. Well, that's real. It's not just because they didn't have a budget and they had to use Nazi uniforms. Some Nazis went to Aldebaran, whatever the fuck. They cut a deal with the lizard things and blah, blah, blah. But he goes in all this, and Michael, he called him Kino all the time. He said his nickname was Kino. He said, Kino, there is no Michael Aquino. He's a vessel for some fucking, like a pitch black snake. He said he watched how they do it, how it like kind of stood behind Michael Aquino. And then when it would be out of him, Michael Aquino would just be sitting there staring blankly. But that's just one of the many things about it. You just listen to a story because it's very interesting. Now, it's going to sound like nonsense, and probably it is nonsense, but I'll tell you something. What's haunting about it, this nonsense, is because it was so outlandish, I always remember it. Then when I find out new things, I can compare notes, and it's kind of strange what lines up. It's kind of strange. And so
I watched the Daryl James one, and there were just certain aspects that I just, like him banging the chick and then being introduced to the general
the sex
daughter.
thing is 100%, dude. You look, that's one of the easiest to believe things, because all the lore from religion to our space fathers,
I know.
What do they come and do? It's always some kind of breeding shit.
Well, I see that. I hear that. I just, again, I think it was rather fantastical, but people check it out. Hold on, we got some more for you.
Well, okay? It is, but here's the important part. The guy that was the commander officer that was like, "You're like a son to me," guy. and I'd like to actually interview the guy because I want to know. He talks about some disturbing things, and this is like the white hat side about how the Anglo-Saxon is meant to do this and that, and Asians were made as a slave race. That's what the good guy side is saying in the story. That's odd.
Listen, I'll say this. Genetic engineering for our I don't know what our history is. And I know that we have those stories, obviously, of the sky people and genetically creating us. And then there's also the talk of us breeding with certain, aspects of these beings, whether it be the Anunnaki, etc. Giants are out there in the biblical realm.
Stop hiding the NBA bones, Smithsonian. Show us the NBA bones.
I'm
the
just
ancient
saying
NBA
anything
bones.
is possible. Hold on. We got these last few, and then unfortunately I am gonna have to break it off because we got fights coming up, Kurt. We got fights.
Right. I gotta empty out the space station shitter. So
that's
all like a trailer park here.
Lovely.
Up here.
That is extremely lovely. So let's get to these chats. Oh, okay, there they are. I was gonna say I didn't want to. Bina is a second-degree wisdom in Hebrew. China is what they talk about. Worth the feminine aspect. Okay.
Wait, say it. What's the second part?
He says Bina is a second-degree wisdom in Hebrew, and the
Okay, I know that.
SH China, whatever that is, China, is what you talk about with the feminine aspect. Okay, that's one.
Shekinah. He's trying to say Shekinah.
Okay, Shekinah.
Or you're trying to say it. Whoever's trying to say it. Shekinah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then Kerp derped me so hard into the Tracy Twyman rabbit hole.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's a crazy one, dude.
That I can't sleep now. Love you, Kerp. Stay safe. Guys, we got
good.
one more
I believe
super
in
chat
God
to make
today,
it.
so I'm good, dude.
I'm just saying. And Kurt, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? You said in the beginning that you got a show coming up. Tell everybody about that.
A live show San Diego. Go to KurtMetzgerComedy.com to get my upcoming dates. And then the last Derp with Kerp I shot with Mark Windows from Windows on the World. That was a great one. That guy is great. I can't recommend his channel enough. Windows on the World. Very interesting guy. And it's very entertaining how fed up he is with esoteric horseshit. It's one of the most entertaining things to me. But he has great information, dude. In fact, he found a book of where the actual origins of the Freemasons are. You know what they're from?
You tell me.
Herod Agrippa. I believe that's 3rd or 4th century. They were trying to come up with a thing to counteract something they called the mysterious force. The mysterious force was Christianity had spread around Rome very quick, around the empire quite quickly, which even Caesar's Messiah people will tell you it spread very quickly. The reason I've never believed Caesar's Messiah is because I don't believe it was top down like that. They're not plausible at all to me. But I know what the mysterious force is that they all fear. It's called populism. And I'll bet you that's exactly what it was. A bunch of dissatisfied people that had stopped hating their neighbor for 5 seconds and started turning at their leaders, which is what all you should be doing instead of complaining about the transgengas or the blacks or the whites or the whoever. These assholes aren't that many of them. There's more prisoners than guards, guys. You don't got to take this shit, but everybody's going to keep taking it because you're all cows. Well, not your audience.
Hey, we're trying to break the cycle. We try to break it, especially within our own
I'm not talking to the right
lives.
people saying that when I say that. This is the Bermas program. Come on.
You're not wrong. One last super chat, and it's not a question. I escaped a COVID vent in 2022. This is the Ben Gordon Show. Kidnapped Kurt. Knows me. I bartended at the Comedy Cellar back in 2008 and 2009.
Who was that?
The Ben Gordon Show. So it's Ben Gordon, I would say. We're talking now over 15 years ago.
I don't remember the name, but I remember a lot of bartenders at the. I gotta see a picture.
Yeah, very blacked out. Kurt, I want to thank you for coming back on the broadcast as soon as we got remonetized. You really helped the channel. I love your comedy.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah, I really do appreciate you, bro. And
I feel bad because I want to watch a movie back in the day. A lot of people say stuff you were saying back then, and then you'll be suppressed, and there's other people saying it.
Well, let's just say this, man. Think about this. I mean, it's been I was very skeptical that I was getting my channel remonetized, right? 5.5 years ago, I used my audience again this time on X to try to leverage it, say, hey, at Team YouTube, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. But we're back. You know what I mean? So
wild.
Listen, I'll give you another great 9/11 example just quick. I've been traveling a lot. I was on the plane, so I had to watch what they had. And the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast, right? He's got David Spade on. It's only like an hour long or whatever. A couple times.
I love Spade.
Yeah, 9/11 comes up kind of as a joke or a story. And then by the end of it, the last 2 minutes, all of a sudden they're talking about 9/11 quick. And David Spade brings up Building 7 twice, and Conan knows what Building 7, and now it's just part of the culture. We've hit that point where it's part of the culture, and that's a big step. So I want to thank my audience for helping do that. Again, if you want to help me out, you can do so down below via the Buy Me a Coffee or the PayPal. Kurt, it's not about left or right.
Mate.
Thank you.
Good talking, man.
Always about right and wrong. We'll see you later, brother. And I'll see you guys